The White House is doing a little bit of bragging today as it nudges past Donald Trump on an issue that for conservatives was the holy grail of the Trump presidency. Today, President Biden made his 73rd nomination to the federal bench. That eclipses the 72 federal judicial nominations President Trump made in his first year. Let's get straight to the White House. Our senior correspondent, Phil Mattingly, was tracking these numbers. Phil, it is a big deal.
There's no question about it. And look, the push from the White House, the emphasis on this from both the White House and Senate Democrats came in large part by a recognition of the sheer success that President Trump and then Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had at reshaping the courts from the Supreme Court on down. It was something that unsettled a lot of Democrats and made clear that during the presidential campaign, this needed to be a focus. And a focus it absolutely has been. John, you mentioned the top line number, 73 total nominees. The president is on the verge of having 31 confirmed between circuit courts and district courts. That's more than any president in his first year since Ronald Reagan. And it's not just the top line numbers, it's also the picks themselves. The White House is really focused on diversity, both on the personal and on the professional side of things. You're seeing labor lawyers, civil rights lawyers, public attorneys that perhaps wouldn't necessarily have been filling the federal bench in the past that have been selections. More than 70% of the picks have been women. More than 20 of the selections have been African American, 15 Hispanic. And so you go up and down the list and you get an understanding of this administration that is really taking a new tact when it comes to who they're selecting, but really continuing what you saw in the last administration, the focus of naming those selections. Now, overall, obviously, no Supreme Court picks up to this point, but just in a matter of moments, he'll have his 11th Circuit Court judge pick, Jennifer Sung in the Ninth Circuit. Timed it perfectly for this hit, John.
Timed it perfectly. I don't know how you did that, Phil. Phil Mattingly, live for us at the White House. Appreciate you kicking it off. Let's have the conversation in the room. Let's start with Carrie Cordero. Let's go back to the numbers that were just right up there, because the candidate Biden did promise much more diverse cross-government, appointees across government. 73% of these picks are women, 27% are black, 21% are Hispanic, 18% are Asian. Add that to the number. The raw number is impressive, but how does that make a difference, the diversity?
So it really is important, because what the district court judge appointments are doing is they're creating a pipeline. So they're going to be obviously considering the cases that are before them, but they're also creating a pipeline of judges who can be future considerations for appellate level judges, even potentially for Supreme Court justices, in the decades to come. And so he has an opportunity here, President Biden, to reshape the federal judiciary in a way that is more representative of America, is not just comprised of all former federal prosecutors, for example. Phil's emphasis on the civil rights backgrounds of some of these nominees and new judges is an important one.
And a lot of conservatives who get the downsides, the many downsides of Donald Trump, this is where they hide, if you will. But look what we got. We got all these judges. And Donald Trump was never shy, about saying, I'm breaking records.
But something that people aren't talking about is how many judges we've had approved. I want to say that we will set records in terms of the number of judges.
A big percentage of the court will be changed by this administration over a very short period of time. I don't believe anybody's come close.
Well, again, those clips serve a purpose, because now President Biden has not only come close, passed him in nominations the first year. We'll see. We'll do this every year. We'll see where we are at the end of the first term, the 4 years. But if you look at this, Lauren Fox, in terms of, Phil touched on this, in terms of confirmations. In terms of confirmations, yes, President Biden has not had a Supreme Court pick, and that is huge. We'll get to that in a second. But in terms of confirmations at the district court level, tied at the appeals court level, well ahead of Trump at the district court level, that matters. That's actual people on the job.
Exactly, and this is a lesson that was learned under the Barack Obama administration, where this wasn't an emphasis early on in his presidency. And when Mitch McConnell took back the Senate, it became a focus for him, and he laid the groundwork so that when President Trump was in office, he could move very swiftly. And, their relationship now, obviously not strong, but at the time, McConnell and Trump worked hand in hand to do this. And it was McConnell reminding him over and over again, Mr. President, you want to prioritize this because you can break records, you can brag about it, you can go out and talk about all the things you saw there in those clips.
And we see the real-world impact every day, because so little is done in this town now that so many things are now litigated in the courts, whether it's mask mandates, vaccine mandates, border policy, pick your issue.
Exactly. It's become the shadow politics of our time that has taken the place of a dysfunctional executive and legislative branch in many respects. And this oftentimes is where big issues are finally decided in the courts. And I think both parties have come to recognize that this is now increasingly where the action is, and that's why they're moving so swiftly to appoint their judges.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if sort of the grassroots liberal voters and activists see this in the way that we've obviously seen from conservative voters. It's really a motivating factor for conservative voters. Never really has been for liberals. So it'll be interesting sort of going forward if sort of the lesson of the Obama administration was learned in the Trump administration. The fact that you've got a 6-3 Supreme Court now that could overturn massive rights for women in this country. So that's one of the things I'm looking for.
It's a great point and a great question. The numbers don't lie, but do the Democratic voters care about this as much as conservatives? It's a great point.
And just real fast, there's a liberal judge on the court who's in his 80s named Stephen Breyer, and that is going to be one of the major storylines of 2022. Does he retire?
Without a doubt. Up next for us, do you benefit from the expanded